Lesson 13.1 is area of triangles. The first thing we want you to do is watch the video in Khan, is area of a triangle, and then make sure your homework is written in your planner. Once you finish watching the video, I would like for you to write this vocabulary in your notes, okay? You really just have to write down what's in blue and red. So it says congruent figures are figures that have the same shape and size. And of course, if they're the same shape and size, they're going to have the same area, right? So it says a diagonal of a rectangle separates it into two congruent triangles. So that means two triangles that have the same area. Because congruent triangles have the same area, the area of a right triangle is 1/2 the area of the corresponding rectangle, okay? So it says here that the base, B, of the right triangle can be either the length or the width of the rectangle. The height, H, of a triangle can be the side that is perpendicular to the base. And of course, perpendicular means that when two lines intersect, they form a right angle, 90 degrees right there. Okay, that's what perpendicular means. So here we have a rectangle, and it's 12 units by 8 units. Okay, now if you take a look at this, we've got one triangle here and a congruent triangle right there. So there's two triangles with the same area. But if we only want the area of one of the triangles. So that means I can take the whole thing, the whole area of the whole rectangle, and just divide it by 2. And that's where we get that formula. And that's going to give us that, the area of one of the triangles. So we can either do base times height and divide that by 2. And of course, dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying times 1/2. Okay? So you will see both of these formulas, and either one is fine to use. Okay? So the area of a right triangle is 1/2 the product of its base and its height. 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Please make sure you have both of those formulas written in your notebook. All right, for example 1, we want to find the area of right triangles. Now, again, we already know our formula, so we don't need to do any finagling. We just need to write our formula, substitute what we know, and then simplify to find our answer. So again, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write our formula. So the formula for the area of a triangle is area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Okay, or you can just write BH. Just do it like that. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Okay, now we can substitute. So we have, and of course the 1/2, you don't have to substitute anything, you just rewrite it. So 1/2 times the base. Of course, the base right there, that's going to be 5. So times 5 times the height. Remember, height drops down to a right angle, so this is the height too. Now, you know that you can multiply in any order you want to. So, of course, multiplication, the word for that is of, right? So if I took 1/2 of 2, that's going to be 1. So 1/2 of 2, that's 1. So that's 1. Times 5, and of course that's going to give us 5, and this is feet. And because it's feet, because it's area, it's feet squared, okay? Now, I do want to let you know that this part, I'm okay with you doing this part in your head. You don't have to write that down. you can go straight from here to there. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at this next example that you finished with your table partners. So we have the area of this triangle. Okay, and again, we're going to write the formula. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height. And again, here's the base, and here's the height. Drops down to a right angle, okay? So we've got 1/2 times the base, which is 4, times the height, which is 3. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to simplify. So first formula, then we do our substitution. And now we're going to simplify. So here I have 1/2 of 4. And of course, 1/2 of 4 is 2. So that's 2 times 3. And of course, 2 times 3 is 6. And this is inches squared. And again, like I told you before, I'm okay with you skipping this part. You can go straight from here to here. All right, example 2. We're going to find another area of this other rectangle. Okay. Now I'm going to use the other formula, base times height divided by 2, just so you can see that it doesn't matter which one you use. Okay. So the formula again is area is equal to base times height divided by 2. So here we've got the base. There's the base. And the height, again, goes from the vertex, and it drops down to the right angle. So 3 is the height, okay? So now we substitute. So we have base, which is 12, times the height, which is 3, divided by 2. So 12 times 3 is 36, divided by 2, that gives us 18 inches squared, okay? And just to show you, if you did 1/2, area is equal to 1/2 base times height, you've got 1/2 times the base, which is 12, times the height, which is 3. So 1/2 of 12 is 6. So this, let's get a color. So this 1/2 of 12 is 6. And then 6 times 3 gives you 18 inches squared. So you can see you can do either way, okay? So I would like for you to do the next one with your table partners. And you can use either of the formulas. I'll do both of them. All right, so here we have both of our formulas written, and then we're going to look at the base. The base is 18. The height drops down from the vertex down to the base to a right angle. So the height is 6. Okay, so now we can substitute in. We've got 1/2 times the base, which is 18, times the height, which is 6. So now we have 1/2 of 18, 1/2 times 18, that's 9, and then 9 times 6, so this is 9, and then 9 times 6 is 54. So there's your 54, and this is centimeters squared, okay? You could also, here, use the other formula. The base is 18 times 6 divided by 2. So when we do that, we've got 18 times 6. 18 times 6, that gives us 108. We're going to divide by 2. And that's going to give you 54. So that's 54 centimeters squared. Okay? See how this is the reason why I like doing the 1/2 base times height, because you're just taking half of something. Here, you multiply up here and then divide by 2, right? So I like the first formula better. Okay? All right, so here, example 3 is finding the area using this diagram. A floor is tiled with triangle tiles as shown. We want to find the area of one tile. So again, we've got area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So that's going to be 1/2 times 12. That's the base. I'll highlight it again for you. There's 12. And then the height is, from the vertex, drops down to the base to a right angle. So the height is 8. So here we have half of 12, which is 6, and 6 times 8 is 48. So this is going to be 48 inches squared. And of course, if you did the other formula, area is equal to base times height divided by 2, you've got 12 times 8 divided by 2, and that's going to be 96 divided by 2, which gives us, again, 48 inches squared. Again, either way is fine. All right, so I'd like for you to do this one with your table partners. It says Consuela made a triangular paper box as shown. We want to know what is the area of the top of the box. So we just want the area of this top part. That's it, okay? So you look at your picture, your base is down here. And of course, that is the same as up here, right? So those are the same. So, oops, the base is 10.5. Okay? So that's the base. And the height of this triangle goes from this vertex, drops down to the base at a right angle. So 8.4 centimeters is the height. So we're going to substitute into our formula. Well, I'll use the base times height divided by 2. So area is equal to base times height divided by 2. Remember, write your formula. Now we do our substitution. So the base is 10.5 times the height, which is 8.4. And we're going to divide that by 2. So I'm going to use my calculator. So I've got, oops. So we've got 10.5 times 8 and 4/10. That gives us 88.2. And we're going to divide that by 2. And of course, that's going to give us 44.1. So the area of the top of this box is 44.1 centimeters squared. All right, example 4 is finding missing dimensions. Now again, you guys, once you write your formula and you substitute, then you're going to use your inverse operations to solve for the missing value, okay? So this is a triangle. So of course, our formula is area is equal to, let's do base times height divided by 2, okay? So let's look at what our dimensions are. So the base here is right here. That's 11.68. Oh no, that's the area, sorry. So the base is what we're looking for. The area is 11.68 meters squared, okay? The height, remember the height drops down to a right angle from a vertex. So here's my vertex, drops down to a right angle to the opposite base. So this base is over here, and the right angle would be right there. So the height is 3.2 meters. So now we have all our information. Now we'll substitute in. So the area is 11.68. 11.68. The base is what we're looking for. So that's going to be, oh, we're just going to put in the B for base, okay? Times the height, which is 3.2. Let's use parentheses, 3.2. And then we're going to divide by 2, okay? Now, you guys remember the cover up, okay? So we're going to cover up what we are, the term that we're solving for. So if I want this blue dot all by itself, I want to get rid of the 2, okay? So because this says all of this stuff up here divided by 2, the inverse or the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply times 2 on this side, and we're going to multiply times 2 on the other side. So on this side, this 2 and this 2 cancel. Those cancel out to 1. And then we've got 11.68 times 2. That gives us 23.36. So 23.36 goes here. And then we've got B times 3.2. Now, how do I get this B by itself? Well, cover up the B. That means we want to get rid of the 3.2. Because it says B times 3.2, that means we are going to divide by 3.2. Okay? So we're going to divide by 3.2, and if I divide on one side, I have to divide on the other side. So those 3.2's cancel to 1, and now B is all by itself. And now we're just going to use our calculator to do that division. So 23.36 divided by 3.2, that gives us 7.3. So 7.3. Now what are my units going to be? I am just solving for a length of the dimension. I'm not solving for area, right? So if this is not area, this is just going to be plain old meters. Now, on a problem like this, I don't want you to get stressed out with all these numbers. I just want you to remember, you write your formula, you fill in your substitution, and then you use your inverse operations using your cover-up to help you to solve for the unknown. Okay? So let's try this one with our table partners. So here we want to find the missing dimension of a triangle with the area of 72 yards squared. So we know the area is 72 yards squared. Okay? We also know that the base is 12.5 yards. And we are solving for the height. Okay? So that's all the information that we know. So now let's substitute in. Let's use the base times height divided by 2 again. So area is equal to base times height divided by 2. Okay? So here we're going to substitute in what we know. We know that the area is 72. We know the base is 12.5. The height is what we're solving for, so that's h. And we're dividing by 2. So now we're going to use our inverse operations. So we're going to use our cover-up. So we want to cover up a term that includes the thing that we're solving for. So in order to get that blue blob by itself, I want to get rid of that 2, right? So that says blue blob divided by 2, right? So if I want to get rid of the 2, that means we're going to multiply times 2. And we're going to multiply times 2 on both sides. Okay? So this 2 and this 2 cancels out, and now that blue blob is all by itself. So let's bring that down. So we've got 12 and a half H, that's the blue blob, is equal to, that's 72 times 2, that's 14 and 4, so that's 144. Right? And now we want to get this H by itself. So I'm going to cover that up. What do I want to get rid of? I want to get rid of the 12.5. Now because that says 12.5 times H, we want to divide by 12.5 on both sides. So now that 12.5 and that 12.5 will cancel, leaving us with H over here. And then we've got 144 divided by 12.5. That's going to give us 11.52. 11.52. And again, because this is the height, it's just yards, not yards squared. Okay? Okay, so now let's try using the other formula. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Alright, so when we substitute in, and you guys, it's all still going to be the same thing. So now we're substituting. 72 goes in for area, equals 1/2 times the base, which is 12.5, times the height, which is what we're looking for. Okay? Now, you can see we want half of 12.5. Okay? So 12.5 divided by 2, that gives us 6.25. So here we've got 72 is equal to 6.25 times H. Okay, because again, all we did was take half of this to get 6.25. Now, this says 6.25 times H. So in order for us to get the H by itself, we're going to divide by 6.25. And we will divide by 6.25 on both sides. So here, those 6.25's cancel. And now H is by itself over here. And now we just use our calculator, and we're going to divide 72 divided by 6.25, and you'll see we get the same thing, 11.52. So this is going to be 11.52 yards. See? Same thing. Either way is fine. Alright, so now we want to look at this application. Okay, example 5. It says Tobias is covering the lid of a corner storage bin in fabric. The fabric costs $2.40 for a square yard and can only be purchased in increments of half square yards. So we want to know how much will Tobias spend on the fabric. Okay, so first thing we want to do is find the area of the cover of that lid. Okay, so let's start with our formula. Area is equal to, let's do 1/2 base times height. 1/2 base times height. Now here, either one of these can be the base. Okay, so that's 1/2, of course they're the same. And then the height right here starts at that vertex and drops down to a right angle. Okay, so let's use this as the height, and let's use this as the base. Okay, so this is 1/2 times the base. Now, I'm going to go ahead and change 1/2 to an improper fraction. Okay, so that's going to be 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so that's going to be 3/2. So this is, the base is 3/2, And the height is the same thing. So this is going to be 3 halves also. Okay? So now, doesn't look like we can simplify anything. Now, be careful, don't do 2, 4, 6, because that's not 2, 4, 6. So we've got, it's multiplication, don't forget. So we have 1 times 3 is 3, times 3 is 9. So this is 9 in the numerator. And then down here we have 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So here we have 9/8. So that's going to be 1 and 1/8 yards squared. Okay? Now, it also says that we can only purchase in half square yards. So 1/8 is smaller than 1/2. Okay? So that means we will have to purchase 1.5 yards squared. Okay? That's what we have to purchase. So now we can look at how much we're going to spend. So it says the fabric costs $2.40 for 1 full square yard. So we're going to take this 1.5, and I'm going to go ahead and change that to a decimal. So this is going to be 1.5. That's the 1.5 yards squared that we're going to purchase. And we have to multiply that times $2.40. So we've got 1.5 times $2.40, and that's going to give us 3.6. How much money is that? That's $3.60. That's how much is gonna get charged for 1.5 yards of material. All right, so try this example B on your own. Press pause for the video. Okay. It says Vladimir is planting wildflowers in the corner of his yard as shown. A packet of wildflower seeds costs $4.95, and it covers 50 square feet. We want to know how much will Vladimir spend on the wildflower seeds. Okay? So the first thing we want to know is what's the square footage of that part of his garden. Okay? So again, we've got area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So the base and the height, look at this, the same. So 15, so it doesn't matter. So we've got 1/2, the base is 15, and the height is 15. So let's just do 15 times 15. That's 225, and then divide that by 2. We could have used the other formula too. Or multiply times 1/2. So let's do times 0.5. So you can see that dividing by 2 is the same thing. So we've got 112.5, 112.5, and this is feet squared. Okay? Now, it says that one packet covers 50 square feet. So how many 50 square feet do we have in here? Well, if we divide 112.5 divided by 50, you see that says that we need 2 packages and 1/4 of a package. Okay? So that means you can't buy part of a packet of seeds, right? So that means you have to buy 3 packs, okay? So what we did to get that is we divided this by 50 because it covers 50, one packet covers 50 square feet. and that gave us 2.25. And this is 2.25 packets, right? So that means that we have to buy 3 packets of seeds. Okay, so that means we have to buy 3 packets of seeds. So now, since we're buying 3 packets of seeds, now we go back up here, and it says that the seeds cost $4.95 per packet. Now, we're just going to take that 3 packets that we have down here, so 3 packets, we're going to multiply that, oh, I forgot how much it was, $4.95. So we're going to multiply that times $4.95. So when we do that, so that's 3 packets times $4.95. That means that he's going to spend $14.85. $14.85. And then he'll have some extra seeds. Okay? And that's it. So now you will be able to finish or work on page 297 in your textbook, and you're going to do 1 through 10 all. Don't forget that for every problem, I want you to write your formula, I want you to complete your substitution, and then I want you to simplify to get your answer. You must show your work. If you are just putting information in the calculator, you are going to get half credit. Okay? Also, remember to write your answers into McGraw-Hill. All right?